The 2016 battle between Chino Hills and Montverde is remembered as one of the greatest high school basketball matchups ever. Chino Hills, as we know, is a public school that became known across the country for its trio of brothers and a roster made up entirely of homegrown players. They faced off against a powerhouse private school in Montverde that featured some of the nation's top prospects in the City of Palms Classic. Montverde as a high school basketball program has absolutely dominated the high school basketball scene for decades. Remember the infamous 2020 roster, Cade and them? Yeah, that roster consisted of 5 NBA players: Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, Moses Moody, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Caleb Houston. In their 2016 roster that faced off against the Ball brothers, it's arguably the most underrated Montverde roster of all time. They were led by 4 future NBA players in RJ Barrett, Anthony Simons, Bruno Fernando, and Micah Potter. This roster also had a ridiculous 6 more high major Division I players on it, and all of them finished their high school careers ranked in the top 100. 3 of those 6 players were eventual 5-star recruits. They had E.J. Montgomery, who played at Kentucky, Silvio De Sousa, who played at Kansas, and Simi Shitu, who played at Vanderbilt. And the other 3 were all high major D1 players as well. They had Sean Mobley, who played at VCU and UCF, Marcus Carr, who played at Texas and averaged 15, and Howard Washington, who played at Syracuse and Butler. It's fair to say this team was pretty stacked. They've won 8 national championships in their program's history and are known as the high school basketball incubator, consistently producing top 10 picks in the NBA like Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell, Cade Cunningham, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Joel Embiid, and soon-to-be number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flagg, in addition to countless other NBA players like Jalen Duren, Anthony Simons, Andrew Nembhard, and Moses Moody. And then there was Chino Hills, who wasn't supposed to be any sort of real contender. They were a small-town public school with a roster made up of local kids, but there was one huge thing that made this team special: the Ball brothers. At the heart of this team was Lonzo Ball, who was starting at point guard and the engine for the team's success. And of course, he had his brothers, Lonzo and LaMelo, alongside him. LaMelo was 14 years old and literally running in circles around the entire defense, passing the ball to his brothers. The Ball family quickly became a sensation, and Chino Hills was on its way to making some serious noise. By the time this game came around, Chino Hills was 6-0 and had already made huge waves by beating half of their opponents by 40 and even 50. Their style of play was like nothing people had ever seen before. They were fast, explosive, would full court press on defense, and built for highlights. But no one expected them to go toe-to-toe with Montverde. Montverde had depth with the 10 Division I recruits that we mentioned before. They were expected to dominate. Chino Hills went 5 deep. They started their trio of brothers, Onyeka Okongwu and Eli Scott. On paper, people that predicted a blowout, and, well, let's just say it was not at all what they anticipated. Right from the jump, you could tell this was going to be a different kind of game. Chino Hills was not going to be embarrassed. They were going to go out there and fight, playing their brand of basketball. The typically dominant Montverde were going to be in for a battle. This was not going to be a stroll in the park 40-point blowout. These kids were legit, and Montverde learned that right away. In a jam-packed gym with scouts all around the country in attendance, head coach Kevin Boyle watched his team face their first real test in over a year versus a public school rolling out a 5-man rotation with 2 freshmen that were running circles around his players. The energy and chemistry of the Ball brothers ignited the entire team, leading to absolutely flawless execution with highlight reel plays and elite shooting as the brothers scored at will. In the first quarter, Chino Hills raced out to a 26-14 lead, with LaMelo Ball hitting a 3-pointer with 20 seconds left to give the Huskies a lead into the second frame. Chino Hills got off to an early 32-16 lead in the second quarter, but RJ Barrett and Montverde were not going to let the Huskies just take over and embarrass them. But as the game carried on, Montverde slowly cut at the lead, and by the fourth quarter, it was a 6-point game. With 2:49 left, RJ Barrett drove to the cup and made a layup to tie the game for the first time at 72 apiece. Back and forth they go. With 1 minute and 46 seconds left, Jello hit a huge three-pointer to put the Huskies up 81-77. The two teams exchanged some stops back and forth until 10 seconds left. Barrett drills a clutch three to cut the lead to 81-80. On the very next possession, Montverde fouled, sending a 14-year-old LaMelo Ball to the line. The pressure for a kid of his age at one of the most well-known tournaments in the country, LaMelo was ready for the moment. Melo would hit his 2 free throws with 7 seconds left to take a 83-80 lead. Now on the final possession, with time running down and one last breath for Montverde, RJ attempted a 3 and was fouled on the play. RJ was sent to the line to make 3 free throws to tie the game and send it to overtime. He shoots the first free throw, it's good. The second, nothing but net. But as the third shot goes up to tie the game, it doesn't fall. Lonzo Ball gets the rebound and flies up the left end of the floor as the buzzer sounds and Chino Hills wins the nail-biter. Chino Hills escapes with the win, and this public school from California officially has taken over the nation. To put it simply, it was the game of the year. NBA players were born at the city of Palms, and Chino Hills lived up to the hype. The Ball brothers' performances were nothing short of spectacular, as they showcased the unique brand of basketball that was simply unstoppable by even one of the best programs in the country. Statistically, Chino Hills only shot 41% from the field, and 27% only attempted 7 free throws the whole game, but it didn't matter. The hype for Chino Hills reached a new level, and the Ball brothers led the way to making this public school the most intriguing team we have ever seen. Chino Hills had solidified themselves in the conversation to be the best team in the country as a public school. They had humbled a Montverde team who had won 29 straight games heading into this game in front of a packed crowd and shocked the basketball world with that 83-82 victory. The Ball brothers early outscored Montverde on their own. Yes, the trio of brothers combined for a jaw-dropping 77 points, which was 94% of the entire team's offense. Meanwhile, Montverde's entire team managed just 82. Lonzo and LiAngelo alone combined for 61 points, while Montverde, consisting of top-tier prospects like Anthony Simons and RJ Barrett, couldn't match that total. Chino Hills made a squad full of elite Division I recruits look like they were playing a completely different game than they were used to. This victory was more than just a win, it was a statement. Chino Hills was the real deal, and they proved it by beating a team considered one of, if not the, best in the country. While Montverde tried everything they could to stop the Ball brothers, Chino Hills stuck with their starting 5 throughout the game, and they never had an answer. Let's dive into the stats. Lonzo finished with 29 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 5 steals. After the game, head coach Steve Bake said, "I feel like we have the best player in the nation regardless of position in Lonzo Ball. He made unbelievable shots, and they could not double him because he was going to find the open man." LiAngelo went off for 32 points and hit 4 three-pointers. Although he didn't shoot well, LaMelo still added 16 points, which is still mind-blowing to think about considering he was 14 and was by far the smallest player on the court. The trio of brothers took 73 shots, 44 coming from 3. There was absolutely zero secret of what Chino Hills was trying to do, and yet they still won the game. But it wasn't just the Ball brothers putting in work. While the other two didn't shoot much, they contributed in other ways. Onyeka Okongwu came up with 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Eli Scott had 12 boards, with 6 of them coming on the offensive glass. On the flip side, Montverde had their fair share of great performances, but at the end of the day came up just short. Anthony Simons and RJ Barrett tried to carry the load. RJ Barrett dropped 31 points and 9 rebounds, but all he'll remember is his missed free throw in the final seconds. It was the program's first loss in their last 30 games. Montverde head coach Kevin Boyle has not lost before the semi-finals in the city of Palms since 1998 when he was coaching at St. Patrick, Kyrie Irving's alma mater. He's still the winningest coach in the tournament with a 39-13 record. It was the first time Kevin Boyle did not advance to the final at Montverde until the Ball brothers said otherwise. In 2016, Lonzo Ball emerged as the undeniable leader of the Chino Hills squad. As the floor general, he proved he was one of the best players in the country, commanding the offense, scoring at will and paving his way to greatness at UCLA. His vision and basketball IQ powered this team and was their go-to guy when times got rough. Then there was LaMelo Ball, the 14-year-old phenom. This dude was just 5'9", and yet LaMelo still showed everyone his crazy potential. He was absolutely fearless, and he played with a swagger and confidence, dribbling around guys in circles, pulling up from half court and never backing down from the moment. He had the whole country talking about how ridiculous his potential could be, and boy oh boy did he back up the hype. LiAngelo Ball was the team's leading scorer and a scoring machine. Jello had a deadly jumper and an offensive game that was both pure bully ball down low and ridiculously smooth on the outside. LiAngelo routinely dropped 30 points. He was the guy who could put the team on his back and hit shots from anywhere on the court, and was a major part in their historic undefeated season. Now, moving away from the brothers that got all the hype, Onyeka Okongwu was an absolute force. At just 15 years old, he was a monster on both ends of the floor. He played like an angry grown man, dominating the glass and swatting whatever came his way. Okongwu showed why he was destined for big things and that he was eventually heading to USC to continue his journey. And let's not forget about Eli Scott. Eli was the glue that held everything together, a complete hustle guy that made all the little plays that contributed to the team's success. Eli knew his role. He wasn't the best scorer on the team, the best passer, ball handler, or creating show-stopping highlights like his teammates, but he did all the dirty work and did so at a high level, and helped keep the team's chemistry strong. Diving for loose balls, crashing the offensive glass, hustling in transition, you name it, Eli Scott was a dream teammate and the perfect complement to this historic starting five. Together, these players and these players alone, as this team ridiculously would never utilize their bench, made Chino Hills one of the most electrifying and unstoppable teams in high school basketball history. The matchup consisted of stars across the board for both teams. For Chino Hills, Lonzo Ball became a household name after leading Chino Hills to national prominence. His college career at UCLA was nothing short of spectacular, showcasing his unique blend of vision and leadership. After being selected second overall by the Los Angeles Lakers in 2017, he quickly made an impact with his all-around game. Lonzo's journey took some unexpected turns, especially with injuries, but he's found new life with the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo has been one of the best stories in the NBA this season, as many wrote him off, but he worked his way back to the NBA court and just earned himself a 2-year, $20 million extension with the Bulls, where he's set to receive plenty of playing time on a rebuilding team. LaMelo Ball has turned into an absolute sensation. After being selected third overall by the Charlotte Hornets in 2020, LaMelo wasted no time in making a name for himself. He became the fourth youngest player in NBA history to earn an All-Star appearance, joining the ranks of basketball legends like Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. His deep threes, elite handle, and flashy passes have made him a highlight reel every time he takes the floor. He was snubbed out of the All-Star game this season, but if he has taught us anything over the years, it's that he will use that as motivation and he'll embrace any challenge that comes his way. LaMelo is not just the future of the Hornets, he's the present, and he's making sure everyone knows it. In the paint, Onyeka Okongwu was a dominant presence at USC, leading him to be drafted 6th overall by the Atlanta Hawks in the 2020 draft. He's now one of the Hawks' most important young players and has taken over the starting role over Clint Capella recently. His defensive prowess and rebounding ability make him a crucial part of Atlanta's roster, and he's shaping up to be a cornerstone for the Hawks' future. For Montverde, RJ Barrett went on to play at Duke for a season to form one of the most exciting trios in college basketball history with Zion Williamson and Cam Reddish, who all were picked in the top 10 in the 2019 draft. RJ got picked 3rd overall by the Knicks and quickly became the face of the franchise. RJ embraced the bright lights of MSG as a 19-year-old kid and helped to play a huge role in bringing the Knicks back to the playoffs in 2020 versus the Atlanta Hawks. RJ showed all the flashes on the offensive end, averaging 20 points per game in the 2022 season for the Knicks before eventually being traded unexpectedly to the Raptors last season for OG Anunoby. RJ is still only 24 years old and has found a new home in Toronto alongside Scottie Barnes and a plethora of young talent that has the potential to compete in the upcoming seasons. Anthony Simons declared for the NBA draft straight out of high school and was drafted 24th overall in the 2018 draft by the Portland Trail Blazers. Anthony didn't see much playing time his first 3 seasons behind All-Star Damian Lillard, but ever since Dame was traded to the Bucks, he got his shot and has since never looked back. He averaged 17 points a game and immediately earned himself a 4-year, $100 million extension in 2022. He has been the top gun for Portland over the last 2 seasons since the Dame trade and has shown his offensive bag on a nightly basis ever since. Portland has been in rebuild mode but are starting to see the pieces come together. Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and DeAndre Ayton have allowed the Blazers to show significant progress under Chauncey Billups, and 25-year-old Anthony Simons has led the way. So there you have it, the story of the night Chino Hills humbled Montverde. A game that was filled with drama, excitement, and a historic back-and-forth thriller that came down to the final buzzer that absolutely no one could have ever anticipated. But what are your thoughts? Do you think 2015-2016 Chino Hills is the best high school basketball team of all time? There's been plenty of debate between them and 2020 Montverde themselves. Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more basketball videos. We'll see you in the next one.